with the name of God on our lips. Hema Kardov and Apollo, they slipped, they fell, their engines broke down. You know, in 1948, when the United Nations said, okay, Jewish people, we're going to give you this land that was promised to you by the British government to be your land now, to be your country. And some of the Arab countries immediately declared war and attacked Israel. What happened? Amazing things happened. They came with tanks from Syria. Tanks, all of a sudden the tanks didn't go. The Arab soldiers got scared and ran away. They just didn't go. How? That's what it says here. Hema Karov and Nafalu, they fell. They slipped and fell, and we stood up. Then they saved it. And we're still standing strong. As long as we have this confidence in Hashem and our entitlement to the blessings that He promised us, then we cannot be overcome. As I was crossing the street this morning, there was a car coming, and so I was safe out of the way. But it made me think that, in Israel, in a similar circumstance, nowadays, some Arab would just drive into, if he saw somebody, just drive into him. And he might get killed because of it, but he doesn't care. He's very excited that he could. This is a source of tremendous excitement for them. They're so brainwashed that if it costs them their life, at least they killed somebody. That's their happiness. Cannot survive. That attitude cannot survive in this world. I mean in this world, the whole universe runs according to laws established by God. And that attitude can never, ever, ever prevail. Never. All right, we're learning chapter 15. About a third level of love. We've learned about two levels of love. Love that comes from thinking about the greatness of Hashem, and then a greater love than that, which is a surpassing love called the love of delights, which is experienced by tzaddikim. And now in this chapter, we're learning about a third kind of love called a hidden love. It's a good morning, everybody. It's hidden in the depths of your heart. It's natural to you. Like every creature has things that are natural to it. Birds, it's natural to a bird to know how to fly. Just the mother needs to throw them out of the nest and they fly. They don't need coaching. Now this hidden love can work in two ways. One is it's just a latent love there, which makes a person feel attached to Yiddishkeit and attached to Hashem, but doesn't radically change his life except under extreme circumstances. And then there's a hidden love, level of this hidden love, that a person can call upon this hidden love, that surely he has this love in his heart, and therefore it's logical that he or she will not move a step, or for sure 2 steps, away from what is required of a Jewish person. So there's a hidden love that's just latent, and then there's a hidden love that can be awakened and becomes a motivating factor in a person's life. But this is still not the ultimate level of a Beinoni. The Beinoni can draw on this hidden love, and through meditating on the fact that he has this hidden love, this can lead him to achieve very great levels of service of Hashem and still be a Beinoni and not be a tzaddik. Okay, let's take a look inside. And we've been also examining how can it be that a person doesn't labor, because we've said all along the whole year that the difference between a Beinoni and a tzaddik is that the Beinoni not necessarily is, well, the Beinoni is struggling. That's what we said all along. The Beinoni is struggling not to give in to the temptations of his animal soul. And then in the last few days, we're learning about a level of the Beinoni where he doesn't have to struggle. And it raises the question, how can we call the Beinoni? Isn't the basic quality of a Beinoni that he struggles? He has strong temptations and strong impulses which are against his Jewish life, against Torah and mitzvahs, and he doesn't give in to them. And a tzaddik doesn't have these temptations anymore because he's destroyed his Yetzer Haros. But that's an entirely different level altogether. Okay. So how could it be that a person who isn't struggling can still be a Beinoni? And the answer is this way, because maybe he's a cold fish. Just certain. He's a cult in the neshama. He's cold. He's just not interested. He's not interested in fine foods. He's not interested in lying on the beach. He's not interested in sensual pleasures. So the switch is constantly turned on that he should be interested in holy things. So he doesn't have to struggle. And it could be a person like that is a Beinoni because he never does anything wrong, never does anything. He's not a tzaddik and he's not a rasha. He's a Beinoni. It's just naturally, here, page 225 in the middle, he naturally lacks any feeling for enjoyment. Would you want to know a person like that? You want someone who has a little fun, you know? He doesn't, 225, he doesn't need to meditate about the greatness of Hashem in order to create, as an act of his consciousness, a fear of God in his mind. An awareness of God and a fear of God. He doesn't have to meditate on this. So that this fear would guard him, protect him from doing any transgressions. And he goes on, bottom of page 225, and he doesn't have to arouse a love of God in his heart to motivate him to learn Torah and to do mitzvahs. But this hidden love of God is in the heart of every single Jew, and that keeps him on the straight and narrow. And for this reason, he's called a person who does not serve Hashem. How can he doesn't serve Hashem? He lives a religious life. Yeah. But he doesn't, it's not an accomplishment for him. It's just natural. Like the story of a person who came to the Tzemach Tzedek, and he said, I heard that I was told if you don't say any Lashon Hara for 40 days, then Elijah the prophet is going to come to you. I didn't say any Lashon Hara for 40 days, and he didn't come to me. So the Tzemach Tzedek said, well, what do you see out the window? He said, I see a horse. So that horse didn't say any Lashon Hara for 40 days either. What's the difference between you and the horse? The horse is a horse, and you're what you are, but you're not really accomplishing anything with what Hashem is giving you. So therefore, this person who just relies on his hidden potential love in his heart, which all Jewish people have this love in their heart, but if that's what he's relying on to get him through life, he's not serving God. So now you understand the difference between one who serves God and one who does not serve God. And it's on many different levels. On the basic level, it's a person who does transgressions, does not serve God. On a higher level, he does serve God, but there's no struggle involved. He's not accomplishing anything with the gifts that were bestowed upon him just because he would, for the sake of the fact that he was born. Or like we said earlier today, he's inherently studious, very, very cold nature. Okay, now turn to page 227. We're going to finish up the chapter. And this explains what it says in the Talmud. Got to place 227 in the middle. It says in the Gemara. Where does it say in the Gemara? Do we have a reference here? No. That when it says this is a person who does not serve God, it's referring to somebody who reviews his lesson, which the lesson in those days, the times of the Talmud, was Mishnayos. You know what Mishnayos are? They're short paragraphs, so some are longer, but some are shorter than others, that are easy. They contain a lot of information, and they're easy to remember. And that's how the Torah was communicated. The collected body of Mishnah is very, very large. It's immense. It's huge. And how did they learn it? Well, they learned it from a teacher. They made notes, and then they learned it so many times that they knew it by heart. And then they would constantly be reviewing, constantly going over the things that they had learned, so that they would never forget what they knew. And they didn't need the Gemara, the Talmud, because they would learn from one thing out from the other. And the real sages, the masters of the Mishnah, they would move through it like a fish moves through water. And they would come up with all kinds of extraordinary conclusions based on what they remembered here and what they remembered there, like islands far apart in the ocean, but they're all in the same ocean. And this was the level of the great sages of 2,000 years ago. So it says, who is a person who learns the average way that a student would learn his lesson? He didn't have a computer. It's all up there. 100 times. Try it. Take a couple of lines of Tanya and review them 100 times. How are you going to do that? 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. When you walk from here to the dorm and you walk back another 3, 4 times. And when you finish 10 times, you got 1. Then do it again till you've got 10 more times, then you have 2. When you have 10 times, all your 10 fingers, you did it 100 times. And you should know it by then. But the Talmud says, the Gemara says, we can't compare a person who serves Hashem with a person who doesn't serve Hashem, meaning the person who serves Hashem learns his Mishnah by heart 101 times, 1 time more. And a regular person learns 100 times. So the guy who learns 100 times, he's not really serving Hashem. He's just doing what comes, like they said on Broadway, doing what comes naturally. Because when a person learns 100 times, then learns 1 time more, that extra time is going to say right here, that 1 time more weighs against the whole 100. It's like you learn 200 times. So let's see what it says inside 227. From this we can understand what it says in the Gemara. The Ayved Elokim, a person who serves God, means something me. Shoshayna Pirkai, he learns his chapter of Mishnah Meya Pa'amim 100 times. Wow. But the Echad Meya ve'echad, he learns 101 times. V'lei avadu, and a person who doesn't serve Hashem, Hainu mi shashayna pirkei meya pamim levad. He only learns his chapter 100 times. Not really serving. There's no struggle for him Where's the struggle in his life? The struggle is to learn that extra one time. Then you're tired, you learned it, good. Let me go have a cup of coffee. But that's not serving Hashem. And he explains, Hainu, Mishum, should be mayhem in those days, Haya Ragilus, the natural way for a student was the Shones Kol Perik Meya Pamim, was the normal way was to learn a thing 100 times. Could the Isa Hasam, like it says in the Talmud and the Gemara, Mashal, and we can learn, we see an example of this from the taxis. Get in the taxi, right away, the thing goes down and he charges you, what's the basic charge now? $1.50, $1.75, $2.50, something like that. That's the basic charge. And then it goes up from there. So it was in ancient times, the taxi was a donkey. And the donkey drivers, they had a fee. And the fee was that for a one zuz, what's a zuz? Maybe $1, $10. You know, the song that we sing on Pesach. Chad Gadya means one goat. My father bought me a goat. Chad Gadya. Zabin Abba Bisrei Zuzi, that my father bought for 2 zuz. The Zabin, which bought Abba, my father, Bisrei Zuzi, for 2 zuzim. Yeah, so the basic fee of a donkey driver was 1 zuz. For 1 zuz, he would take your groceries home for you up to 10 miles. A zuz could go pretty far. 10 parsi. But if you had to go beyond 10 parsi, if you had to go 11 parsi, you had to pay 2 zuz. When I was a kid, we used to, myself, my friends, we weren't old enough to drive. And we wanted to go someplace out into the country together, a little bit outside the city. So to get from where we lived to the city limits, it cost 25 cents. And to go beyond the 25, going beyond that, we had to pay 50 cents. You had to have a second fare. Exactly the same thing here in 2,000 years ago. For the donkey driver to go beyond the 10 parsi, you have to pay double the price. So similarly, when you learn that one extra time, the Mishnayos, it's like you learn 200 times. You've had doubled the accomplishment. With one time, you just doubled the accomplishment. Page 228. Lochen, therefore, Zois hapam hameya echad, this 101st time, hayasera al haragilus, which takes him beyond his normal daily practice. Shahorgol minorab, and he's used to doing it like this since he was a kid. So it's no big deal. It's not an accomplishment. Shakula kaneged kulan. So the extra one time weighs against the first 100. It's exactly equal in weight to the 100. So now he's got 200 because that one extra time is equal to 100. And it surpasses them. V'yeser says, v'yeser oz, liyez nikra ayved Elokim, and so this student is called one who is serving Hashem. And here we see the difference between one who is serving, one who's not serving. And this sort of sums it all up. It just puts it into an example, puts it in a nutshell, that serving Hashem means going beyond your comfort zone. That's what they say nowadays. Right? Everybody with me? For me, crossing at the street light is going beyond my comfort zone. I did it this morning. But the hard part is after the class when I'm rushing to catch the minyan, which is just across the road. I could just cross the road and make it. But to go to the light and to come back, it's a bit harder. It's not. I need that the minyan itself should wait a little bit. That's not in my control. They have to get distracted. Okay. Why? Third paragraph, 228. In order for us to change our nature, to change to go beyond what we're used to doing, we need an extra push. What's the extra push coming from? It's coming from the fact that we love Hashem. I love Hashem. I want to be connected to Hashem. I want to be connected to Hashem through Torah and mitzvahs. And if I really care, I'll do a little bit more. And how do I do it? By meditating on the extraordinary wonders of nature in front of my eyes. As we were learning, as I was saying this, it was something I wanted to share with you, an example, and it just, that's chachma, you know, an idea falls into your head, and if you don't grab it, it flies away. I don't know what it was I wanted to tell you. This love that comes from meditation enables him to control and overpower and direct the inclinations in the left side of his heart. Hamole dam hanefesh habahamas, which is the left side of his heart is full. We learned this, chapter 1, with the blood, filled with blood of the animal soul, with all its desires, which comes from klipas noga, right? Shemimena hu hateva. That's where our nature comes from. V'zuhi avoda tama lebenani. And if a person does this, then he is an achieving Beinani. That is the level of achievement of a Beinani, not a tzaddik. This is his struggle to go beyond his comfort zone, to go beyond what is usual level of performance. To get to get up 10 minutes earlier than normal, and not to go back, not to roll over, or this was the fleeting thought. The Maggid of Mezrich, they asked him, how did he acquire such vast knowledge and understanding in Torah? And he said, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I did it in 5 minutes. What's the 5 minutes? I think it was 15 minutes. He says, after everybody finished learning, I would stay 15 minutes longer. I would review just one more time what we had learned. And that made all the difference. That put him head and shoulders beyond all of his friends and fellow students. Mazuhi avoda tama lebenani, and this is Tam. You know, Tam, like the 4 sons of the Seder. You have the wise son, the wicked son, the simple son, the Tam. Yaakov is called a Tam. Simple means straight, sincere, good. This is called avoda tama. Avoda means service. Tama means this perfect service. No frills. Who in the Torah is described as a Tam? Yaakov is described as a Tam. He serves. We learn from him to serve Hashem. The lashon is tamimus, with perfect simplicity. Perfect. I remember seeing in a magazine on an airplane years and years ago, some Jewish guy was appointed to be a chancellor of a university in I think a Balkan country, emerging from dictatorship into democracy. Yeah, and on his desk was a sign that said, "Keep it simple. Keep it simple." That's tamimus, simplicity, sincerity. So here he says, this is the service tama of a tam, the perfect service of the Beinani. This is what it's all about. So this is what he says, this is the service that every single person can aim for and can achieve. It's in your power. There's nobody going to stop you. There's no inner blockages to hold you back. You can't decide to be a tzaddik, but you can decide to be a Beinani. But nobody's going to promise you that it's going to be easy, but it's definitely worthwhile. In fact, if you know that that's what it's all about, then how can you desire anything else? And that's why they say that once you end up in Lubavitch, it's all over. Because you know the truth. The truth is connected with Tamimus. Yaakov stands for truth. Yaakov was the Tamim, the simple son. Now, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. Page 228 at the bottom. Oy la'order es ha'ahava ha'mesuteres, and believe me, there's another way we can serve Hashem with the love that's hidden in our heart. So this, what we've been talking about so far, is to awaken the natural love in your heart and to arouse it so that this motivates you to say, I want to be connected to Hashem with all my heart, as strong as I can. And this is still not the level, the higher level of Ava, is that still relying on the natural love that's in the heart. It's not love that comes from profound meditation. It comes from, I know that I have love in my heart, and it's appropriate that I should serve Hashem with this love, and I'm going to serve Hashem with this love, and I'm going to have respect for Torah and mitzvahs, and have yiras Hashem, fear of Hashem, with this natural feeling that's in me, and it's in me, so why should I not use it? Okay, and that is not just coasting. That's not what we said yesterday, was cruise control. That's not cruise control. That's you're taking charge of your life. Okay, 229. So now, what he says is there's another way we can tap into this natural love that's in the heart. And since it's there, and circumstances could make it come out, could reveal it, but I'm not relying on those circumstances, external circumstances, to reveal it. I'm going to reveal it myself. I'm going to use it to direct me. Limshol al yada, to rule over my natural inclinations. Shebachol asmali, in the left side of the heart, page 229. Yeah. Shazu nikr gam kain avodah. This is also called serving Hashem. However, since we're not involved with tremendous meditation, it's not the deepest level of service Hashem, which is generated from the brain, generated from your mind and from meditation and contemplation. That's a much stronger level of Ava altogether. Here we're going to tap into the natural. I know that I have this natural love in my heart. That's what I want to motivate me. Okay, so that too can bring a person to the level of a Beinani, but it's not the perfect level. It's an imperfect level, because it's to a certain extent just relying on that which you were created with, that which is natural. And then he concludes the chapter on page 229, 1, 2, 3, third paragraph, fourth paragraph. Masha ein kain, which means, on the other hand, when he doesn't have to fight any war at all, because it's just natural for him to learn Torah and do mitzvahs. It's like you train yourself from youth to make your bed when you get up in the morning. Some people never get it, but other people, it's just so natural that that's the way they live. So, ein avazu mitzad atzma nikras avodah klal. This is not called serving God. This is just coasting. With this, we finish chapter 15. We'll return to you, and we'll start Monday, chapter 16. Chaim. Have a wonderful Lag B'Omer. Girls, Lag B'Omer is a special, super, super duper day when we're all together with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and his level was completely transcendent of all limitations. And anything that you need, anything that other people need, you want to help them out, go for it. Pray for them. Give tzedakah in their merit. If you have friends who, heaven forbid, are ill, or young couple not having children, or the children are sick, or whatever it might be, having problems with parnasa, having emotional difficulties, this is a day that can be tremendous, tremendous help. I saw with my eyes how women would come, barren women would come and wait by the Rebbe's house for a blessing on this day, and they would be blessed with children. It says in the Yom Yom, the Mittler Rebbe said that it was the custom of the Rebbeim to go out into the fields on this day. Why? To nature, to be inspired by the greatness of Hashem. And they would say L'chaim, and they would be very happy, and they would sing, and the Rebbeim might say a Maimer, Hasidus, revelation of Hasidus, and they would witness wonders. And he writes, the Mittler Rebbe says, we would look forward to Lag B'Omer a whole year. And when I was finding my own way into Yiddishkeit, I remember my father, Olav Sholem, remembered that he was an orphan, but he knew that there were uncles and whatever, they would go out into the park and into the fields or into the countryside on Lag B'Omer.
Is that why we do a bonfire?
We light bonfires as a remembrance of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There was a debate amongst the Chachamim, sages of the time, was the Roman occupation of the Holy Land good or bad? And certain sages said, well, it's not bad, I mean, they built roads, they made aqueducts, they made civilization. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, baloney, whatever they did, they only did for their own benefit. They're wicked people. They're wicked people. And he was reported to the police, and he had to flee for his life. And he hid in a cave. And he hid in a cave for 12 years. Robinson Crusoe. When you're on a desert island, you can't go to the store and buy clothes. What do? So he buried himself in sand up to his neck, and there was a tree sprouted fruit, carob, boxer, and that was his diet. And a miraculous stream flowed by the cave, so he had water to drink. And the whole time he was just reviewing his knowledge of Mishnayos. The whole time, 12 years. And after 12 years, the emperor died, and all the people who were wanted were granted their freedom, and he was able to come out of the cave. But he was on such a high level that the world couldn't take it. He had to go back into the cave for another year to calm down, to come back down to earth. And the bonfires were, I think, a means of communication to let him know that he could come out of the cave. Maybe it was for something else. You got me. That's also, we give the children bows and arrows to play with, because the bow reminds us of the rainbow, that because of the tremendous power of Rabbi Shimon's learning Torah, there was no rainbow in his lifetime. Why does that mean? That means Hashem put the rainbow in the sky to remind him that no matter how evil a whole generation might be, he's not going to wipe them out. The rainbow would remind him, do not send another flood. And in righteous generations, you don't see a rainbow. because Rabbi Shimon said that he took upon himself responsibility for the whole of his generation, which means in his merit, the generation will always be protected. So we give the children bows and arrows to remind us that there's no rainbow. So this is the tremendous, and when he came out of the cave, he'd been 13 years buried in sand, his body was covered in sores. And so they came to him and they said to him, Rebbe, let us take you for medical treatment. No, he said, tell me, is there anything that you need that I can do for you? Which was an expression of Ahavas Yisrael. And he was a student of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was his teacher. And Rabbi Akiva is the one who teaches us that from last week's Parsha, to love your fellow like yourself, Ze klal godel b'Torah. That is the great general rule underlying every single detail of the Torah. It's all the details, all the laws are all an expression of love of Hashem, love of another Jew. To love another Jew, just the same as you, is the basis of our holy Torah. Torah. That's why speaks about all these things on the platform. Any secret you're going to read, you'll see these are the themes.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Your birthday today? No, it was yesterday.
All right, now let's going to do those levels together.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. Me?
Yes.
Oh no. Well, we all slip up sometimes.
Thank you, everybody.
I apologize. Wait, we'll never have it again.
That's just-